Hey everybody, Art Hooker here. Hope you're having a great weekend. Happy Palm Sunday to you. I want to thank those of you who commented or who sent me private messages after my last vlog. I'm glad that something I said was useful to you, encouraging to you, and we're going to keep doing this. Let's keep each other encouraged. I want to talk today about ingenuity because for the first time in a long time, our country has found ourselves in a situation where the waters are uncharted. We haven't been through anything quite like this before, and it's certainly scary. It's certainly unnerving because we don't know what tomorrow holds for us. But here's the thing: we have always been a country that learns to adapt and to overcome. I think back to World War II and all the great stories that came out of that of people going beyond their comfort zones to make things happen to help this country ultimately win in a global war. One iconic image that came out of World War II started with Norman Rockwell back in 1943 in the Saturday Evening Post. He painted a photo on the cover of Rosie the Riveter. Now that image actually is a little bit different than the one that we tend to recognize as Rosie the Riveter, painted just a little bit later that year by J. Howard Miller. Now Rosie was a fictional character, but she was modeled after the millions and millions of women who stepped out of their homes, stepped out of their comfort zones to fill in the gap for the men who had gone off to fight in these wars. They started working in the plants, they drove taxis, they did whatever they had to do to keep the economy moving here and to support the wartime effort. Rosie actually ended up being modeled after one lady in particular. A lot of people thought it was Geraldine Huff Doyle because she was similar in her looks to Rosie the Riveter, but it actually was Naomi Parker Farley. And she was really kind of a neat lady, and she, at the age of 95 is when she finally was able to come forward and tell her story. And from the picture that you'll see, she actually was Rosie the Riveter. But today we don't have Rosie the Riveter, we have Susie the seamstress and Sam the seam, whatever a male version of that is, starting to make masks for our first responders, for our emergency room people, for all our health care workers to try and overcome the shortage of N95 masks, and also making masks for people to be able to use as they move about day to day when they don't need maybe the more secure masks that our first responders need. I know a lot of you are doing stuff like that, and I really appreciate that. I think that's great. Other people have used their 3D printers to print face shields for our hospital workers and other things that have been useful. We see that one major organization, one of my favorites, Ford Motor Company, decided to take their plants before anybody ever was going to compel them to do this. They started making ventilator parts and ventilator assemblies so that they can help overcome the shortage should we need those in some of our larger cities. I like Ford Motor Company anyhow. I tell you, anybody that can make something that will spin around and do donuts in the parking lot, they're my favorite. Whatever you're doing, I hope you'll continue to look for ways that you can make a difference. You can help other people on a much smaller scale than Ford Motor Company. Whatever you look to do, make a difference. Keep each other encouraged, and use this time to start thinking about what your life's going to look like post all this mess. We don't know what exactly it's going to be. There's going to be some changes. Some things won't be the same. A lot of things will go back to what we consider normal, but there's going to be some new opportunities. We see teleconferencing has become the thing today, and Zoom and some other companies have really taken advantage of that and made it kind of easy for us to be able to be connected even though we're separated. Except for the one lady that turned herself into a potato on her office conference call. Go and Google that one if you haven't seen it yet. It's pretty funny. But whatever you're doing right now, stay encouraged. Remember that this stuff is just temporary. God's not up there on the throne scratching his head. He knows how this is going to work out. He cares about you, and he is here to keep you comforted. You let me know if I can help you out with anything. Love you guys. See you next time.